Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Libra April 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and it's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by, and for the subscribers, always so good to see you. I really look forward to seeing you each month, truly I do. And I've done a number of clairvoyant readings from different parts of the world for many of you over the course of the last month, haven't I? As well as healings. And if you might be interested or feel drawn to have a psychic clairvoyant reading with me, or separately a healing, just check out the information which is in the description box below. Now, what the subscribers know is that we have no video advertisements breaking their way into this content here, so you get to enjoy the experience uninterrupted. Now, this is an old Russian deck, so the imagery in here is sort of, what would you sort of say, late 1800s, something like that. Who knows? You probably got a better idea of it than I do. There's the Knight of Clubs. I don't know what clubs is. We shall see what this picture brings to me. There's the Knight of Coins. There's the Page of Swords. 3 people. Obviously having something to say to you, I think, each of these people. There's the 5 of Cups. And what's something from in here, shall we? What might this be? We'll have a look, and it is this, the 9 of Cups. Well, why don't you, as is our usual practice, why don't you come sit down here next to me? We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now, I think what we might do is look at this Page of Swords first. That's sitting in the middle here. It's almost like a central energy, really, for you for this month. And you know what? I think that Aquarius, Pisces, and Capricorn are going to be important to you. Now, I'm going to refer to this as a woman, but of course, court cards are can be of either gender. But I see this here as being a young woman who is stern and revengeful, firm and aggressive, but nevertheless skilled in the ways of the world. This might well be somebody that you know. I call her the Lotus of the Palace of Air. Now, what she is that she is, as this page, esoterically, she's earth and in air. Well, earth and air are in conflict with one another. They can create turmoil. Now, if you can imagine a tornado, a hurricane, a cyclone, a typhoon, then you understand how air and the earth and what is growing on it or placed upon it can have problems when put together. But in some respects, this person is somebody who kind of attracts troubles and can in some ways be an unhappy person when it comes to practical and material matters. You see, all the fine qualities of air are weighed down and suffocated. This type of a person, and again, I think it's someone that you might know, can be thought of as being something of a child of misfortune. But this is somebody, and I think that this actually could well relate to you, where this person, and maybe you, can throw everything overboard, blow everything sky high, and ultimately, though, it is the case that you have chosen right and you gain reward for this. Then this is even in the face of people who ask themselves, what is it that you're doing? You can't be undertaking this type of activity, surely. Do you know, I think that the character of this page here is stern and revengeful. Her logic is destructive. She is firm and aggressive, with a great practical wisdom, though, and a subtlety when it comes to material things and matters. She shows great cleverness and dexterity in the management of practical affairs, especially if there are arguments or controversies around. She's very good at sorting things out. She's also very grounded and can resolve arguments, I think. She represents for you a fresh intellectual clarity which shakes everything up It's as if you are going to demolish the old altar which is standing beside you, and it explodes, sending clouds of smoke, rubble, and ash into the air. Now, when intellectual and spiritual renewal meet the element of the earth, altars of old ideals are destroyed, and the smoke will soon settle, leaving room for clarity. Every change, every inner conflict you experience sends smoke and ash, emotions and moods, really, flying into the air. But she does not allow the dust caused by the destruction of the old and the destruction of the useless to cloud her clarity of vision. She is resolute, aggressive, and does deal well with practical issues. So I think it's inevitable, really, that you will be clever in practical affairs, especially where controversy or arguments rule. But you may well have a destructive way of analyzing things and then applying the output of what you have analyzed. So be careful of the feelings and the interests of other people. Now, you may be aggressive and vengeful. You'll be very forward and outgoing in your manner, I think, and you'll be able to get ideas grounded in a tangible way. Now, you might think sometimes that, like this page here, that you are fighting battles internally and externally, but you'll settle them. You're very good at settling those battles. This is speaking to me of someone who follows their own bent rather than serving another person. And as I say, in due course, it will be seen that you have chosen right, and you will ultimately gain your reward. Now, your thoughts and vision may at times destroy holy altars around you, so don't let yourself be buried by the flying debris. Don't allow your moods to take hold of you. Remain true to your real ideals. Now, what old altars are present in your surroundings, in your life, and have you the courage to destroy them? Look inside and see if your rebellion is rooted in love, and say to yourself, my rebellion is positive, constructive, and creative. Now we'll have a look next at, well, who's this here? This is the Knight of Cups. Hello, Knight. How are you at present? Let me see here. I'm getting, you know what, there's a lot of Libra around here, you know. And also I think that Scorpio is about as well. Now again, this is, as a knight, he is air, and in water, well, air and water can sometimes can be calm, or they can whip up huge seas. He is the prince of the chariot of waters. Now, water and air strengthen each other, but they are neutral. So in elemental dignity rules, there are no elemental contradictions in his makeup, as there was, for example, in that Page of Swords that we just looked at. But with him, the elements, I think, combine with Scorpio to make him something of a rather intense character. As a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as is possible. This is here speaking to me of desires, wishes, craving almost. And certainly there is the possibility here for transformation, but we saw that with that page as well. Now look, I will say this though, and I think this could be somebody else that's in your life, again, either male or female, somebody who is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word, someone who is perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power and information and for his own objectives, and he feels no responsibility for others, and actually he really just can't be relied upon. If you're in any doubt as to where you stand in relation to this person, you stand behind them, because they look after themselves, and other people come second. Yes, again, I'm getting a lot of this Scorpio around here. Look, I think that the central task of this Knight of Cups is to master dealing with emotional needs. Now, air, in the context of water, That symbolizes strong passions, as does this astrological sign of Scorpio, which I'm getting around here. Now, wishes and desires must be perceived and recognized. Well, they are the fundamental driving force in your life, aren't they? It is only possible to use and master them if you're wide awake and alert, and instead of suppressing them, you can use them in the process of becoming more aware. And when seen in this way, they are a vehicle that helps you journey into the world within. Now, as another person around here, I'm seeing that someone who is a younger man, but I guess it could also be a woman, someone who is subtle, and there's a secret violence that's there, a manipulation, a craftiness. It's almost like an artist who is calm on the surface, but that calm surface masks an intense passion that goes beneath. Now, I also see this sign of Libra with you. So the ability to detach, as Libra is an air sign, as you know, from the heavy, intense and controlling emotions of Scorpio, which I get here, it shows poise and control of the emotions. But being detached, this person, can often be a front for insecurity and fear. Now, usually the feminine asks the masculine to go deep in his feelings, to join her in the place where the two meet as one in relationship. Now, I said that there are no elemental dignity problems with air and water here, but with him, the elements combine with Scorpio to make him a very intense character. As a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as is possible. So as for you, you may appear calm at times, but this could mask a passion and an intensity which might, from time to time, make you quite volatile. Now, this person here has a lot to offer, an immense ability, but this is a person who can't be relied upon if it's another person, so be aware of that yourself. And their main responsibility is to themselves. Now, this person can be secretive, hiding their deepest desires. I'm getting the feeling of someone who's involved in arts, the music, beauty, fashion, clothing, something like that. But this person here can shed insight into other people's lives as they've usually done it all themselves. But at worst, this person is cruel, selfish, and reckless. For you, I think you need to accept your sexual needs and passions and live them out with awareness. You will discover a lot in this process. Give yourself totally to the experience and observe yourself in it. And what secret wishes are you unwilling to admit to? Spend some time each day visualizing yourself in your desires without getting lost in them. And say this to yourself: I now live out my sexual desires because this makes me more vital and fulfilled. Gee, they're quite talkative, these court cards, aren't they? Let's go to someone who's not a court. There is another court there, but let's have a look at this thing here first. Oh, there may be a moment here where you get disappointed in something or in somebody. Let's have a look at what's going on. Well, the astrology here is Mars ruling the first decan of Scorpio, which is the 23rd of October to the 2nd of November. Now, we'd expect really positive aspects to that because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. But because there is the number 5 here, mystically, I have an association with the planet of Mars as well. So there is a double Mars in the picture here. And what happens is there's a lot of fire around, and the double fire of Mars essentially evaporates the emotional waters of Scorpio. It overpowers any good relationship that would ordinarily exist between Mars and Scorpio, thanks to that extra Mars from the numerology. So there may well be some unfulfilled expectations or a loss of sense of balance, maybe some problems in relationships or an unexpected disturbance. Maybe your expectations were much too big. Some unexpected event, perhaps only a thoughtless reaction, has ruined those expectations abruptly. And the aggressively destructive energies now dominating the scene have probably been, look, I think, smouldering beneath the surface for a long time, and you've overlooked them, perhaps because you didn't want to admit to their existence. You ignored the warnings of your inner voice, but now you have to face the sobering facts and look them in the eye. But remember, though, every disappointment contains the possibility of an important learning experience. Now, it might be the case that you say, look, okay, so this didn't work out as expected. Well, this energy is saying, don't wallow around in self-pity and regret, because new and better experiences are in store for you. Maybe for a sense here, for a moment, you kind of felt a little bit disillusioned with your own life and what it looks like ahead in your future, but you should not be concerned about that at all. Now, if you're feeling disappointed by someone else's actions, find it in your heart to forgive them, because forgiveness releases the person who forgives, or at least forget and say, this happened and I'm going to forget about it. I can't change it. It doesn't mean that it was good. It doesn't mean it was right that that happened, but it's gone. It's now in the cemetery. But I think that there are feelings surfacing that this energy points to, and they can often give rise to fear, or fear of taking another risk, or of making an effort in the future, or hiding away in some place where you can't be disappointed again. Well, you mustn't do that, you know, you mustn't. Do you know, there's a book of the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, called the Book of Psalms, and I'm pretty sure it's Psalm 88, verse 14, which says, "As for me, I cry out to you, O Lord, each morning my prayer greets you." Now, meditating upon that, it unleashes the power of the mind over matter, the soul over the ego, and the spiritual over the physical. Your goal is not to renounce the physical world, but to eliminate its control over you and to become true captain of your fate. Everything then is possible. Now, I think that either some much too high expectations of yours might be crushed or have been crushed, or somewhere deep inside you lurks the fear of some disappointment. Well, now is a good time to learn from this situation. And in what areas of your life do you fear disappointment? What have you learned from disappointment you've experienced until now? And how can you prevent disappointment? And say this to yourself: I get to know my own reality by learning to see where I fool myself or where I deny my inner voice. Let's have a look at that other court that was around. And who is it? Oh, this is the Prince of the Chariot of Earth, the Knight of Discs. A strong sense of Taurus and a strong sense of Aries around you. You know, this says to me that you are going to be, again, here we have air and earth. Just as we had air and earth the other way around in that card. So there's some turmoil about. You have some qualities, though, which are going to mean that you are going to be very energetic. You're going to be a capable manager and a steadfast worker. You will be slow to anger. That's despite this card that's here, because it's pushing on it from on top. And this knight is a higher ranking card than the page. So you could be slow to anger, but look out if you've been angered and pushed over the edge, and that's where that page is going to come in here. You know, the character of this person has an energy that's brought to bear on the most solid of practical matters. Now, I think that you will be energetic and enduring, a capable manager, as I say, and you'll have a great degree of perseverance. You'll be competent and ingenious. maybe even cautious, but certainly trustworthy and not able to be thrown off course. You'll be able to adapt to circumstances and turn them to your advantage with a slow, steady, well thought out plan. You know, in a sense, where this card is and with these other cards that are around it and with that page pointing on it and with the Nine of Cups below it, I think that this represents the process of blooming and pollination. He's sitting well on this horse that's here. And the horse is taking him forward with unfailing will. Nothing will stop him. Nothing can break his determination to reach the goal. It is particularly in the most important and serious situations that he proves again and again that he is unshakable and possesses prudence and perseverance. Now, I think that you'll have a great mastery of structure and design, not necessarily in the sense of architecture, but just in the sense of maybe of balance, of proportion, color, and making. It could be gardening, it could be beautifying your home, it could be things like fashion, hair, and makeup, for example. And you'll have a great energy in dealings with material things. He's a very material guy here, and you will be unshakable. Now, I think there may well be some physical activity that you're undertaking during this period as well. This signifies to me a period in your life when you are taking responsibility for your life and becoming focused. Now, you might find, interestingly, and depending on your age and your condition, that you are quite good at sport, and you will be interested in design, in color, in proportion. I think you'll be putting a lot of effort into practical things at the moment. Now, it may well be, I'll say this though, some people might think that you are insensitive and lacking emotional warmth during this period. So it's a time in your life when you are very goal-oriented, I think, and want to sort out the material sort of your life, the material side of your life, being things to do with your health, your work, and things that are tangible to you. Do you know, this is the time to take action, and if you do, important experiences will result. Now, what activities do you enjoy? What activities would help you towards self-realization? Find a physical, creative activity in which you find joy and fulfillment, and say to yourself, I am finding the work that fulfills and satisfies me. Now, finally, it seems we come to this fantastic energy here. This is the Nine of Cups. Now, why is this fantastic, do you say, Nigel? Because I see Jupiter ruling the second decan of Pisces, that 1st to the 9th of March. This, for me, is the Lord of material happiness. Now, Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces, and so this is a very complementary energy. Jupiter ruling the second decan of Pisces. Well, Jupiter's philosophical approach aligns well with Pisces spirituality. And Jupiter also brings good luck and happiness. And Jupiter's softer concerns, such as care, compassion, and the spiritual life, they are beautifully expressed through sensitive Pisces. There is an enormous capacity to love. Although, as is so often the case with this gift, this is often won through lots of difficult times in the past, isn't it? But nevertheless, this says to me this is a time of your wishes being granted, reward for your efforts, and a bright future. The influence of Jupiter in the sign of Pisces creates more than a feeling of mere sympathy. A great sense of blessedness arises from total joy. The quality of this joy shows that it is deeply rooted. It is not the result of some superficial pleasure. It speaks of bliss, which derives its energy from the deepest reaches of a soul at peace. This moment is filled with harmony and inner joy. Open yourself totally. Don't miss it. And ask yourself this: where do you seek and where do you find your true happiness? Just breathe and feel. If you are alone, enjoy your solitude. If you are together with others, enjoy their presence. If you have a job to do, do it in silent devotion. And say this to yourself, because it is absolutely the case at this time, that happiness is my natural condition. Well, what a fascinating and fantastic spread of cards for you. Good job, you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed providing it to you. It really was an interesting reading, and great things are in store for you this month. I found the artwork, did you not, to be quite interesting. It's not the type of thing that you see every day, is it? But anyway, there'll be a different deck for next month. But in the meantime, I want you to remember one thing and one thing only, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.